Welcome, everyone. We are going to go ahead and get started. I am very excited to introduce Ann Bidrow. She is one of our alumni board members. And Ann, I know you've been with us for a long time and you've got a little introduction of yourself. So without further ado, Ann, thank you again. And we are so excited to have you today.
Yeah, thank you, Whitney. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it. Perfect.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. I am very excited to do this presentation. I love goal setting. I'm a little addicted to it. So as she mentioned, I'm Ann Bidrow. I'm a 96 grad of Davenport University, and goal setting in Davenport University is very near and dear to my heart. So I'm going to share some information here in a little bit regarding that and how this all started for me. But today we're going to talk about laying the groundwork for growth. So if you think about, especially these last, I don't know, 2 years, let's call it, life probably looks a little bit differently for a lot of us than what we may have thought where we would be in December of 2021. So I especially love this topic because as we look into 2022, it might be different than what you originally thought, right? So in being flexible and thinking about goals, I always tell people that, goal setting is awesome, but you've got to stay flexible and open to changes along the way. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So a little bit about me. I graduated from Davenport University in 96, but I actually met Davenport in 1989. I was in high school, and the first time I had ever even heard about goal setting was a recruiter came into our accounting class from Davenport, at the time college. It was Davenport College, and it just blew my mind. I sat in class, and I come from a family of 6 kids. I had a single mother for a while, and while she was very encouraging and supportive, and even taken some night classes herself, we just didn't talk about goals. And when that recruiter from Davenport came in and wanted us to set 5-year goals, it really blew my mind, and I was hooked right from there. I thought, man, I'd never thought about, where do I want to go? What do I want to achieve? And they really focused on the 5-year plan. Of course, being a recruiter for a college, that would include going there. And I did because of it. I mean, it was amazing. And I kept those goals. And I can tell you that, boy, it was 4.5, 5 years later, I really did hang on to those, and I pulled them out, and, I had achieved every single one of them. I couldn't believe it. And that right there showed me that if you aim at something, you just might hit it. And that's what I warn people about goal setting and thinking about the future and achievements and things. Be careful what you wish for, because I can tell you time and time again, I have goals going back to 2001, written goals with timelines. And it's so cool to go back and to review those. And some of them have come to fruition and some of them have not. And some of them I'm grateful never came about. So, it's neat to look back over your life and look at the goals you may have set and, how far you've come. Because sometimes with goal setting, you can maybe stay a little too focused on the future, I feel, at least for myself. I'm always, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? What am I going to achieve by this date? And sometimes it's important to pause and look back. And so periodically through the year, and I'll share a little bit about that later, but, I do that. I pause and I look at the accomplishments and make sure you celebrate all of the hard work in achieving those goals. So here's a little bit about me. I won't go into it. You can read through. My bio is also on our company website at creativestudiopromotions.com. But that's my day job. So I'm co-owner with a wonderful person named Menda Wright, who's also my best friend. And we've been in business over 10 years now. But I've been involved with a lot of different businesses throughout West Michigan. I've owned a few myself. I love getting involved in the community. And I also mentor several people with goals. So I have a goal partner. I mentor other people. And I think this is such a great focus, as I said, as we head into 2022, especially, with everyone sets New Year's resolutions. This is beyond New Year's resolutions. We'll talk a little bit about that too. But, this is bigger. To me, this is a commitment. And as Whitney said, I will warn you, it's a bit interactive today. So typically when I do this in person, it's cool to see the collaboration in the room. And I know it's a little bit different online, but I still think it'll be really beneficial. So these are some of my most favorite quotes. I think about Spencer Tracy saying, and this is at the top of my goal form that I fill out every year, is a goal is nothing really more than a dream with a deadline. Oftentimes I'll hear, oh, goal setting seems so overwhelming, and it just seems like I have all these expectations on myself, and it just feels like a lot of pressure, and it feels almost restrictive at times, or, I already do a lot. I don't know that I want to put more down on paper of what I want to do. And I would say to you that, to me, goal setting is not just about what you're going to do. But sometimes, I've had on my goal sheet that maybe it's to take more time for myself. Maybe it's not to do so much. Maybe it's creating the space to be more, present in the moment. And so, I would challenge you, as you listen to this today, to start thinking about, because there is a part of it that we will write down a few goals here and start thinking about, what is it that in 2022 I might want to look different? What are the things that I want to have stay the same and continue so that I don't lose focus? So start thinking about that. And I always challenge people to dream big. I have pulled out some goals that, I'll tell you, and I'll show you at the end of this program, some things I had on my list that I really didn't know if they would ever happen. I'll be honest. I just put them on there. I was like, okay, you say dream big. I'm going to dream really big. And wow, they came to fruition, and I'm just blown away. In fact, I'm at a point right now where I need to refocus and say, okay, what's the next big thing then for me in life? And what if I were to really stretch myself and think, if I could pull out, a blank piece of paper and design where my life will be next year, or in 5 years, 10 years, what does that look like? So a couple other really great quotes I have listed here is from Zig Ziglar. If any of you know him, he's an old dog in the industry for sales motivation. But a goal set properly, is halfway reached. So you're going to find in some of the studies I'll present how few people actually write down their goals. And having goals is wonderful. It's a step in the right direction when you talk about it. But boy, when you put it to paper, it changes everything. So I won't read through all these, but I think that it definitely has, been proven that one of the best things to combat, and I won't put a name to it, but struggles in life, is if you've got goals that you're focused on. So, a down day, a down week, a down month, a down year can sometimes really get to you. And, it's been proven that if you've got goals and you're focused on those goals, that whatever season you're in the moment that may be challenging, it's easier to get through it because it's a season, and there's something on the other side. That, this week may be really tough, but overall you've got your eyes focused on this larger goal down the road, and it does make a difference. I truly do believe that. And another one I'll just call out is Brian Tracy, who's a huge favorite of mine. He actually is, I'll show you a goal form that I use and have used for years. He does a whole session on, goals and good habits and things like that. And so we actually took some of his material, a goal group I was in, and we kind of modified it for ourselves. And that's going to be the goal form I'll share with you today during this session. So who has goals? Who sets goals? I'd actually like to ask that polling question right now, Whitney, if you don't mind. Can you pop that up to ask who maybe on this call has actually written down their goals ever? Is that possible?
Yep, we have got the polling question up right now.
Fantastic. So if everyone could answer that question.
Yep, we'll give folks just a couple more minutes here to answer.
Yeah.
Can you see it on your screen, Ann?
I don't. I do not see it.
Well, right now we've got 6 responding with yes and 3 responding with no.
Okay, awesome. Well, you guys are in the top of the population if you've answered yes. So there was a Harvard business study done, that 83% of the population actually does not have any goal. They don't really have goals. They don't talk about goals. They don't think about goals. They don't collaborate on goals. And 14% of the population, they may have a plan or some goals in mind and think about the future, but they don't write them down. And so it's only 3% of the population who actually think about goals, they write them down, you know, and it's been proven. You write it down, you're probably going to achieve it sooner or later. And so just know that if you take the time today while we go through the exercises, even to write one down, you have just become part of that kind of group, that small 3% who isn't, you know, probably going to achieve those. So it, you know, I encourage you to really participate today. One of the big things, especially with us coming into January, I wanted to talk about was New Year's resolutions. And I don't know if anyone has heard this, but the average New Year's resolution lasts about 3 days. After about 3 days, 50% of the population falls off, and definitely within 30 days, I think the number is like 98% of people. After January 31, they barely remember what their New Year's resolution was. So for me, New Year's resolutions are wonderful if you write them down and you have some deadlines to them. But what I'd prefer is often I set my goals way before New Year's for the next year, because then I kind of stay away from that feeling of, oh, it's January 1, you know, it's kind of this hype or emotion. And to me, it's more serious than that. So oftentimes it'll be around this time of the year that I'll start already planning my 2022. I'll pull out my form. I do have a couple of goal partners, and I have one goal partner that every Monday morning we do about a 10-minute phone call. We talk about what were your goals for last week, what did you achieve, what didn't you achieve, but we also do an annual review or a quarterly review. And so it's this time of year that we will take a little bit more time and forward our goals to each other. And you know, it isn't to be judged, it's just to share and to kind of hold ourselves accountable, each other. And so this is a goal partner that I've had for many years. That original goal group I spoke of at one of the first places I worked at an accounting firm, we had gone through the Brian Tracy session, and afterwards we just said, hey, let's put a goal group together. And through the years, people have come and gone, but her and I, we've stuck together. And like I said, we still meet every Monday morning to talk about goals. So I look forward to the call. So the other thing is, Inc. magazine also has said that 92% of people do not achieve their goals. And why is that? So of the folks who do at least think about goals, 14% was on the previous slide. And so of those, the majority of them, they don't achieve them. They think about them and they talk about them, but why don't they achieve them? And so this goes into, again, the importance of having that vision, writing down that vision, you know, tracking them, putting some deadlines to them, having someone who you can be accountable to, and having a passion for those goals. So, you know, I take quiet time before I write down my goals, and, you know, I really think about them. And if I write them down and they feel too heavy or they don't feel quite right, you know, oftentimes I won't put them down. I want to be excited about the goals I have, and, you know, be passionate, or my success rate, you know, it drops. And if I'm struggling with a goal, often I'll talk to my accountability partner. I'll talk to my husband, because he and I set goals every year together as a couple for our family. And, you know, I work through maybe why do I think I need this goal if it doesn't, you know, if it's not setting well with me. And maybe it's a tough situation that I need to resolve, but maybe it's the timing, or maybe it's the approach, or something like that. So again, having passion for your goals and making sure that it's something you want to chase, so that you don't pull out your goal sheet and go, oh, didn't make it. And you were like, I could care less, you know? So to me, you want to have that fire burning for them, or maybe think about revising them. So for me, a good kind of format to follow is, when you start thinking about your goals, is, you know, using the word SMART, and that is being very specific. So oftentimes when I meet with folks who are trying to learn how to set goals, owners of companies or just individuals, they tend to not maybe be specific enough. And so it's hard to track a goal and to know if you were successful if it wasn't specific and measurable. So those two, to me, it is, if you think about a year from now, if you set a goal, in a year from now, how would you tell me that you were successful or not at that goal? If you said, I want to feel better about my relationship with my family. Okay, what does that look like? How are you going to measure that? What specifically do you mean? And, maybe there's a scale. Maybe there's a scale of 1 to 10 on how you feel now and why you feel that way and what specific issues and how would you measure this? And, what would be attainable for you? Is that maybe calling some of your family members once a week and trying to build a relationship? What things would you do? What would be the action items that might be measurable to say that I'm working in that direction on this goal? So thinking about that, and is it attainable? Sometimes I will hear, especially young people, oftentimes, they want to hit $1 million in net worth. I'm going to make $1 million. I'm going to hit $1 million. Okay, so what's your timeline for this? Well, it's going to be in 12 months. And it's like, okay, so I love the enthusiasm and the passion, but let's think about, well, how attainable is that? And so one of the things I'll walk you through is the form that brings it all the way down to, this month, this year, 3 years, 5 years, whatever the timeline is. What are you doing today to move towards that? And when you start to baby step your goals like that, you'll start to realize maybe what's a little bit more reasonable or attainable and what might not be in the time frame you've put down. So relevant, that kind of self-explanatory, but also time bound. So I'm a big believer in deadlines and dates. I think that we rise to the challenge. We as human beings fill the time that we have available. And so if you have a deadline out there, any of you athletes will relate to this, that once you sign up for a race and you pay for it, all of a sudden your training seems to get better and you find the time to work out rather than just saying, oh, this year I'll work out more. So thinking about something that might put a deadline out there for you, whether that's self-imposed or maybe it's an event. Maybe it's a meeting that you put on your calendar and you're going to meet with your investment advisor, or maybe it's something else. But to know that deadline and that's set up out there, especially if it's an external one other than just yourself. So where do you begin? This is where often people can feel a little bit overwhelmed in saying, okay, I have so many different areas of my life I want to focus on. There's family and there's my health or my physical fitness and, money and, what do I do this week? What do I do in 5 years? What does this all look like? And to try to bring it all together can be challenging. So that's where I'm hoping today that you take away is a system that you can follow to think about. I focus on 5 key areas. There's probably plenty more. Again, this is just just kind of a guide, but focusing on the financial, that's to me kind of an easy one when it comes to thinking about how much and when, but oftentimes that can involve other people. So this can start to flow into professional goals. It could be family goals, especially if there's a couple that I might be working with on goals. One may feel like, spending now and enjoying life is more important than saving. And the other one, maybe doesn't feel that way. And so what for me it does, with my husband is it helps us kind of come together. So we'll sit down here probably in the next week. I've asked him to book some time, and we have a notebook that we go through every year. There's a new page for 2022, and we sit down and say, okay, what house projects, what business projects, what about, cars and house and all that good stuff, like things that we're going to be working on, where are we going to allocate our funds? And so what I find oftentimes is if you start with the financial conversation, it flows into so many other areas of your life, right? I think Dave Ramsey says it really well that, if you open someone's checkbook, you will see their priorities and their values. And so when you start there, and you have those conversations with yourself or with a spouse or whoever, then it starts to lay the groundwork for the other areas in your life. The second one, professional business, what are you doing at work? What kind of sales goals do you want to achieve? Do you want to switch careers or jobs or go back to school? Thinking about, getting a raise, or maybe presenting yourself differently in business, or going to your boss about your work situation and other opportunities. So thinking along the lines of that. 3 is spiritual. Whatever your denomination or your view on that is, be passionate about it, I hope, and think about how you could grow in your spirituality, whatever that looks like for you. Personal and family, this is a little bit intangible at times, but you can certainly set goals, reaching out to family members, visiting them, spending time. One of the things that I am often challenged with in my life is work-life balance. I love my work and I love what I do. It's fun, it's demanding, it takes a lot of my time, but my family is my priority. And so, when I'm with my daughter, I want to be fully present. I want to turn off technology. I want to be there so that work is work and home is home. So, and right now, with the way things are in the business environment, especially out there in the workforce, a lot of us, I think, who may have young children at home might be struggling in this area. I know daycares aren't taking children, schools at times, if there's sicknesses. So how do you balance all of that? And it may not go away, right? I mean, when you think about the future, it may be this way for a while, maybe not, but why not have a plan in place to say, okay, if it is this way for a while and where I'm at right now isn't working, how can I change that? How can I set myself up for success? And if it does change and go back a little bit more normal, great, but why not plan both and set yourself up for success and hopefully a better quality of life? So health, of course, this one as well is I think tied to several of the other ones. It could be, again, work-life balance. If stress is getting to you, which seems like lately a lot of people are experiencing, I feel like that I know. So, this is self-care. How are you exercising? How are you eating? What is your weight? Do you want that to change? Getting outside help if you're struggling with some issues, things like that. And maybe it's, booking some appointments with some professionals that you've been, wanting to, and putting a deadline to that. Oftentimes in this area, I will see things on people's goal sheet that, oh, I want to lose 20 pounds. And it's like, okay, that's a great goal, but by when, and how are you going to do it? How are you going to, or they'll say, I want to get in shape. Okay, what does that look like to you? Are there some numbers we can put to it? Are there some dates we can put to it? And then work the plan. What does that look like, on a weekly basis then? Are you going to go for walks? Are you going to go for runs? Are you going to meet up with friends? Are you going to find a group to join? So again, trying to use that SMART process and being very specific and measurable and all those things just help your success rate skyrocket when it comes to setting goals. And then this is the timeline I like to use. So I will show you the form and get this in your hands. We'll share it with you afterwards and send it out. But I start with lifetime. So I think about, at the end of my days, and I look back, what had I hoped to achieve and be remembered by and accomplished? And, when you pause and think about that, your life can often be much like a book, and each chapter may be a season, it may be a year, whatever year of life you're in. If you think about what you've accomplished, where you're at, and you think about, as you were to maybe go back through that, speed forward to hopefully, God willing, I'll be around for another many years. As I pause and think about, wow, okay, at the end of my days, what is it that I had hoped to accomplish through my life? Then from there, I back off to 1 year. So sometimes I'll see people feel more comfortable with maybe a 10-year or a 5-year in there as well. That's up to you. Again, this is just a guide. But I go back to 1 year because it's hard for me to think of action items any further out. That's just me. So let's say a lifetime goal for me might be, and this is one of my goals, is to hopefully not end up, I'd like to live independently health-wise until the day I die. I hope I don't end up somewhere that many people have to care for me and that I'm not on a lot of medications and things like that. So that is my lifetime goal. I really hope to do that. I've seen many of my family members not have that, and the challenges that come with it. Some of it's out of my control, I get that, but my goal is to work as hard as I can to stay in that space. So in 1 year, I would like to do another half marathon. I'd like to get back into running. It's kind of off through COVID. So I think about, okay, if in a year I'm going to do a half marathon, where do I need to be in 6 months? Well, I definitely need to be thinking about my mileage and the amount of times I'm running per week, things like that. And then I back that up to 3 months. Maybe at that point I'm, looking for a running partner, or it's, putting my schedule together and thinking about my nutrition and things. And then all the way back to 1 month, it might be just to pick up a magazine and pick the race and maybe register for it a year out, even if it's available. So that's a good example of, that how to use that timeline on a specific kind of goal. So Whitney, have we had any questions so far? I don't see that box because I have my PowerPoint up.
No questions yet. You did have
Okay.
Rebecca, who, when you were talking about why folks have a hard time with their goals, she hit the nail on the head and said sometimes they are too broad and not time-based. So,
Yes, absolutely. Good point. Thank you for that input. That's awesome. So we're going to do a quick little interactive exercise, and I know I can't see all of you to see whether or not you're participating, but I really challenge you. This is just a few minutes to take a moment to pause. And we do this in these sessions to kind of reset our mind and focus. So many of us are running hard and fast on a daily, minute by minute sometimes, and even my schedule. Sometimes I literally could have 7 meeting commitments in one workday, and it's jumping from spot to spot to spot. So, I like to use this because soon we're going to start talking a little bit about your goals and giving some examples and things that I'm going to share with you. But what I want you to do is kind of close your eyes and just take 3 deep breaths. Nice, slow, just close your eyes, 3 deep breaths. Relax your shoulders, maybe drop your hands, just kind of sit there for a second. And then we're going to start to explore your mind a little bit. And you don't have to share any of this. This is just for you. But I want you to go back all the way back as far in time as you can to your very first memory when you were a child. Statistics say that's probably around 4, 5, 6. Some people have gone as far back as 3. They can remember a specific moment in time. So just any moment, any memory, maybe it's a conversation, maybe it's a trip, maybe it's an interaction with someone, but think about that very first memory ever that you can think of. Then I want you to think about elementary school. Anytime between kindergarten and let's call it 5, 6 grade. Think about who your best friend was, or maybe your favorite teacher, or your favorite activity. Maybe it was recess, maybe it was art class. Think about something during your elementary years and the school you attended, maybe what was going on in your home at the time. What was your favorite pair of pants that you wanted to wear every day and your parents wouldn't let you? From there, I want you to think about junior high, high school. Again, maybe a favorite teacher. Maybe there was a sport you were involved in. Maybe your family moved. What did your bedroom look like? From there, we'll leap forward to, and so this is different for everyone. I know there may be college students on the line. There may be people who are later in life, maybe their parents or grandparents. So just bring things forward to wherever you want in life, whatever stage. Think about maybe a favorite memory that maybe between college and now that you've experienced, something that you enjoy. Maybe it's a family member or family members. So just thinking about maybe a relationship, an event, a vacation, a job, just a good memory. Okay, good. One more deep breath. And we do that so that your mind is trained to kind of dig a little deeper beyond just that surface layer. So when you take the time to reminisce, you really start pulling forward things that you maybe you're dusting off, let's call it, that you may not have thought about in years. And so what it does is it starts to retrain your brain a little bit to think in a different way, especially being over the lunch hour during a business day. Again, we've probably all been running very fast this morning. And we do this so that you can start to think about your life maybe in a little bit different way, that you, rather than being in your life, kind of rising above and looking across your life. And, I like the term of, when you think about especially a business, are you working in or are you working on your business? And so that's two different ways. It's in the day to day, the grind, or are you stepping back and kind of looking across? So we do that because we're going to start to roll into setting some goals. And so what I've done here is I have thrown out some examples, and I have you look back over your life and those memories, because now we're going to start to shift to the future. And let's say again, at the end of your days, or in 5 years, or in 1 year, what do you want to look back on and be sure that you experienced, whatever that looks like. Places you may have wanted to visit, financial success, health, family again. I mean, there's those areas of goals that, as you start to transition from, reminiscing into the future, I guess I'll mention this, that, every year in about this time, December, I will write myself a letter. And my letter is written like it was being written. For example, this year, I would write it like it's December of 2022. And I will write a letter to myself that says, Dear Anne, what an amazing year it has been. Here's, you've accomplished this, you had this goal, and I write it like it really happened. And what I do is in December of 2022, I open that letter up. Like this year, I'll open my letter from 2020, which was written like I was in December 2021, and it'll be interesting. I can't even really remember it all. I seal the envelope and then I open it and I go, wow, okay, this is what I thought was going to happen this last year. Maybe I thought I was going to take a trip, or I thought that, maybe we were going to move, or something in business, or again, family, health, things like that. So again, as we start to look to the future, you think about what had happened through your life and what do you want to see happen for the time you have left. So here's some examples. Financial, again, that's kind of an easier one. Often I'll see people say, I want to own my home debt free. I want to earn $1 million. I want to leave a substantial amount, maybe to some sort of a nonprofit or a passion you have. And maybe you want to take care of your parents. Professional or business, maybe there's a licensing exam, or maybe you want to own your own business, or you want to just start reading some professional development, or take, a class. Spiritual, maybe there's some prayer meditation, how many minutes a day or a week. You'd like to join a like-minded spiritual group, and maybe find a place of worship if you don't have one, and get connected somehow. Personal or family. Often I'll hear people say they want to be married or have children, and grow the relationships they have with their current family or extended family, or maybe mend broken relationships. I think I put message, it's massage. But anyways, get a massage once a month. So that could be something personal, just to help do some self-care. And then health, maybe you want to run a race and lose some weight, or join a gym and stay in good shape. So those are just some examples. I'll definitely give you more. So this is the goal form that I use. I love this form. I send this out. I can't even tell you how many people I've given this to, because I'm a goal junkie, and most people know that. So when they really get serious about wanting to set goals, I will give them this form, and I will circle back around with them. And they don't have to share the details, but I'm kind of relentless about making sure that they've completed it for themselves, because I think if you are that close and you actually want the form, then why not take it one step further? And I'm always happy to help. So here's this form that I use. So I start with my lifetime goals. I have a spiritual, a professional, a personal, a health, and a financial lifetime goal. Every single one of them. I share these with my family. Then I like to do 12 months. So I would put, here I would say by December 31 of 2022, here's what I'm going to accomplish. And that should support my lifetime goal. My 12-month goal should somehow be supporting what I'm working towards in my lifetime. And then I go to a 6-month, and then I do a 3-month, and then I do a 1-month. And another good example is, let's say it's financial. Maybe financially I want to, give away $1 million to a nonprofit that I'm passionate about, for example. Maybe that's, I'm going to put that in my will. So how am I going to get there? Well, in 12 months, maybe I have already put, a couple $100 into that. Maybe by 6 months, I'll have $100, and maybe by 3 months, I'll have $50. And the first month, maybe I just go open a separate savings account where I'm going to start compiling this money. So you can kind of see how they build on one another and help you grow towards those lifetime goals. So again, we can distribute this form after the call. Oftentimes when I meet with people on goals and myself, I struggle to think about, okay, where do I even begin? I'm not even sure. I mean, goal setting can be challenging. If you've never set goals and you've never thought about goals, it can be challenging because, to focus, you can see why most people don't do it, right? It takes time, it takes energy, it takes focus, and it takes some effort. And so, you can find a million of these ideas online. If you're challenged in where and how you would set your goals, just do a Google search, because I took a few lists and kind of worked this together, but I thought they were great, and again, these in themselves to me would not be solid goals, but they're a start, right? Like get in shape again, then using the SMART, using the form with the timelines and things, but at least you've got kind of an idea of what it is that you want to work towards. I love some of these. I think they're great, like adopt a pet, get over an ex, be more on time, spend more time with people that matter, be tidier, watch less TV, get off social media, express yourself artistically, face your fears and insecurities. We've all got them. What are they for you? Is there something that's holding you back? Healthy habits, go visit your doctor, learning to cook some new recipes, improve your concentration. So again, I won't read through all of these. I just thought I really like 17, show more love. I feel like we could all do that, right? So anyways, I just thought I'd throw these out there for everyone in case they were struggling with where do I even begin. Another great out there, if you haven't listened to any Tony Robbins, he's pretty popular, but create a vision and never let the environment or other people's beliefs or the limits of what has been done to you in the past shape your decisions. And, we all come from different backgrounds. We all have different stories, but know that, if you aren't happy with where you are, life can be different. And, I have met with some folks and, I've been through some things in life that, boy, if I would have let those moments or those situations or those people dictate my future, no way. I will not give up my control or my destiny that easily. And, I caution people sometimes on who you share your goals with, because not everyone's so positive about goals, and not everyone will help you move towards your goals. And I feel bad saying that, but knowing who in your life will help you project towards what it is that you want to accomplish is really important. And in my personal inner circle, that's coveted because I am very cautious. I know most people in this world, there was another study, and I don't want to quote who it was, the details, I can't remember, but I can remember that the study that I read was about how negatively people thought about themselves, how many moments per day. And so if we think negatively about ourselves, we're going to think probably negatively about others. It's a constant, oftentimes it can be a challenge to get into that positive space. For me, I use gratefulness. If I'm there in the moment, I go through my list A to Z and I say one thing I'm grateful for every single letter of the alphabet. And by the time I'm done, I'm in a good mood. But surrounding yourself with people who are going to hold you accountable for your goals, they will help you move towards them if you're struggling, but not putting them out there to be, unjustly criticized. So I just tell people, your environment can really shape you. And especially when it comes to goals, oftentimes they're delicate. And so treat them that way, and protect them. So I love that quote from Tony Robbins. And then if you do your goals and you want to go one step further, and this is another polling question, Whitney, if you don't mind, is dream boards and goal partners. I'm curious who here on the line maybe have done dream boards or have goal partners. So if you could maybe that up. And while she does that, I'm just sharing my personal vision board. This was my vision board. I've got my family on there. I've got working out. I've got spirituality. I've got eating. I've got taking time for me. I've got some financial goals. But oftentimes I will meet with my goal partner at the end of the year or every couple of years, and we will sit down and we will still cut out good old pictures out of magazines, and that action and those conversations that happen in that hour, let's call it, are amazing. And thinking about truly looking at this. So where I get ready in the morning, kind of in this little space, I put my dream board up there, and every day I see these pictures. This one, a lot of these I pulled off Google, but I put it there where it's right in front of me every day, and I love it. I've pulled out dream boards from years ago, and I said I would share some things. I never thought in a million years in my mid-40s I would have a daughter. So here I am. I have a daughter, and that was on my dream board years ago, and I really didn't think it was going to happen. So it did, and it's such an amazing blessing. And so I just say to people, like, be careful what you wish for, because you just never know, or be careful what I should say you set goals for. So Whitney, do we have any responses on the poll?
Yes, it looks like a majority are new. So 7 folks have never created dream boards before, and a couple of 3 have.
Okay, fantastic. I love it. I love it. I love it. So yeah, for the new ones, these are hopefully some action items for you. And with that, I do want to just take a moment and go back to one of the things I would challenge you. I'd like to just take maybe 2 minutes here. Here is the form. And I would really like everyone, and again, this is on your honor because I can't see you, but just to think about one of these areas of life: your spiritual or self-improvement, your personal, your family, your professional, your career, your health, or your financial. And I'm just going to turn on some music for 1 or 2 minutes here, and I really challenge you to think about setting at least one lifetime goal, and then maybe plug in a couple of those others on how you would move towards that. So with this on the screen, I'm going to go ahead and cue up the music, and it'll just be for a minute or two here. I'll do 2 minutes. So I really challenge you to take the discipline right now while you're in this moment to just jot a few things down. And then we'll open it up and see if anyone wants to share. You don't have to. Don't feel pressured. But I'll go ahead and cue it up now. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and shut that down. How did everyone do? I am anxious to hear. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing here, I think, if I can.